Hey, I'm Kai. I was supposed to do a demo of the Klowra Vane a couple of months ago, but I wasn't super happy with the performance. So I reached out to Klowra and I told them what was up, and they've been hard at work on a firmware update ever since. Not only did they listen to my feedback, but they've also put forward a ton of other improvements in this firmware update. So you can consider this almost an entirely new unit as to when it first launched. This is the 2.0.1 update with better performance, better tracking, and better latency. Now the Vane pitch shifter is actually a pretty crazy pedal with a ton of different features on tap. There are a bunch of different intervals available. You can have 1 semitone, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1 octave or 2 octaves. These can also go in both directions, so you can have 2 octaves up or even 2 octaves down. You can set the behavior of the foot switch to either be an instant on, you can set it up to slowly morph in from your dry tone, or you can even set it up to morph between 2 different presets. There are a couple of other nifty features underneath the hood, such as a tone control, which I find particularly useful when you're going high up or low down. It's also got a Detune feature with some modulation, so I figure that's probably a great place to start. Essentially, when we have the pitch set to unison, the Detune functions as a standard modulation pedal. If I turn the mix all the way up to 100% for instance, we get a pretty straightforward vibrato. I did notice a little bit of a glitchiness to this, almost like a vinyl crackling sort of thing, but I actually don't really mind that. Turning the mix down from here will turn the vibrato into a chorus instead. You'll notice that these modulation controls go all the way from a super subtle, gentle modulation up to completely crazy alien noises. I've currently got the Klowra Vane hooked up with an expression pedal, as you heard in the intro clip. This means that I can sweep from one preset into another preset pretty seamlessly. I'll start by setting up one extreme preset on the unit itself. Now I'm going to save that preset and then I'll dial the mix back down to 0. Now that the preset is saved, the unit is displaying the parameters that are available when the expression pedal is in the heel position. Then when I switch over to the toe position, it's switching over to the saved preset. This should work great with a high gain tone for some pretty extreme wage war kind of stuff. It's worth mentioning that you can actually sweep between any 2 sets of parameters like this. I just set up the heel one as a sort of bypass-ish kind of tone so that we can get a better sweep. I'll get into some more extreme things with that kind of setup later on in the video. You can also use the Detune features to add a little bit of depth to your pitch shifted signal. We'll go back over to the clean tone and we'll try out some octave up stuff with a little bit of detune on it. I'm finding that to be pretty harsh and shrill, so let's turn the tone down. We can do this by pressing and holding the LED and then moving the rate knob. I'm going to turn the mix down a little bit, save it as a preset, and then do the same trick I did before, where I turn the mix to 0 for the heel of the expression pedal. I'm definitely no expert when it comes to using expression pedals like this, so you'll have to forgive me if some of these riffs come out a little bit sloppy. Hopefully that didn't detract from the fact that this is a really fantastic sounding setup. Now I can't see myself using the modulation side of this an awful lot, as it can be pretty jarring. It's cool that it's there, and it does open up quite a lot of scope for more experimental sort of stuff. One of the main reasons I'm interested in pitch shifters though is for Octave Down stuff. I've got the Plexi model loaded up on the FM3, and I've got the Horizon drive up front. The Klowra vein is going to be used as an octave down here. You can access the octave down by holding in the LED while you're adjusting the pitch knob. For this tone, I want to set it up so the mix is high enough that it really thickens up the tone, but not so much that it gets super muddy. For octave down riffs, the vein works really well, and I really like the tone control on this. I think that's something that more pitch shifters should take note of. I should also show off how well this one works as a straight up down tuner in lieu of something like the Digitech Drop, for instance. We'll stick with the same amp, but I'll turn off the drive pedal so it's more of a standard crunch sort of tone. It'll be high gain enough that it's fun to play to, but just clean enough that you can hear any artifacts or any weirdnesses going on. The settings are going to be super simple for this one. We're going to have the rate and the detune on 0, the mix on 100%, and then the pitch is going to be down to semitones. You do get a little bit of that robotic warbling kind of thing that you get with a lot of pitch shifters, but for the most part I'd say this is perfectly usable. I'll now compare this against the pitch shifter in the Fractal FM3 so that you can hear the differences between them both. We'll start with the Fractal. Now the Klowra again. The Fractal does just pip it by a hair there, but the fact that they even get close is a miracle considering the price of the Klowra vane. Let's also try the vane down another semitone, going through a high gain tone instead. Now I'm just going to check it out in a standard Whammy sort of setting as I had it set up in the beginning of the video. No modulation again, and the mix on full out, then we'll have the pitch set to 1 octave up. I've saved this one as a preset, and then I'm going to change the pitch knob to unison. This now means that the expression pedal will ramp from unison up to 1 octave up. Let's hear what this is like. Now this actually works incredibly well, especially compared to the previous firmware. I would say that this is a pretty top class pitch shifter for the Whammy sort of thing now. I'll also show it on 2 octaves up, and we'll stick to some low string riffage. I actually really like how smoothly this one glides from unison up to 2 octaves up. It doesn't have that stepping sort of thing, it's instead a super smooth transition. One other thing I should probably check out is some of the intervals between unison and octaves. Let's go for some really strange noisy stuff here. I want to go for a 5th up, and then we'll add some rate and some detune to get things a little bit warbly sounding. It could also be a lot stupider and a lot noisier, so let's pull in the expression pedal again, and we'll change the heel position to be an octave down. Let's also add in some wet effects on the fractal and get things even more experimental. This is more what I had in mind when I was checking out the Klowra vane, however I personally don't go for such extreme tones. I do think the potential of the Klowra vane far exceeds what I would actually get out of it, however it does a ton of experimental awesome things. Let's do one more super experimental thing where we're going from a 5th down to a 5th up. And just for some silly weirdness, we'll go from 2 random intervals and see if I can make anything that sounds even slightly musical out of it. No is the answer to that. Now there are a bunch of other features available on this pedal, but I wanted to keep this video sort of more in line with how I would use it. And I also wanted to keep it under an hour long because this is a very, very difficult pedal to demonstrate. It's one of those pedals that's best experienced in the room, in your hands, just playing about with it in front of an amp and just messing about for a while. I will quickly cover some of the other features in this unit though. You can set it up to ramp between two sets of parameters on the actual pedal itself rather than using an expression pedal. However, I just found it easier to use the expression pedal. It's also capable of running mono in and stereo out, which is great if you want to use it for stuff like shimmer reverbs, for instance. This would also work nicely for those 80s detuned chorusy kind of lead tones. I should add this is a sponsored demo as Klowra have sent me out this pedal to review. I think considering this pedal costs about $150, it's incredibly versatile for what it is. There aren't many other pitch shifters at this price point to begin with, and I can't think of any that have this morphing between presets ability as well as a glide bypass. It's not perfect by any means, there is still a little bit of latency you can feel to it, but I think that's my issue with pitch shifters in general rather than specifically the Klowra Vane. Ultimately, my personal issues with using a pitch shifter comes down to the very fundamental level of it needing to read the signal before it's able to shift it. That's not something I expect will ever be resolved in the world of pitch shifting. So that was the Vane by Klowra. I hope you enjoyed the demo. Drop a comment down below letting me know what you thought of it. There are a bunch of other demos of this pedal by other people who are taking it to far more experimental places. However, I just wanted to see how it functions as a pretty straightforward pitch shifter. That is all I've got for this video though, so thank you ever so much for watching, and until next time, I've been Kai.